Advocacy for women empowerment continues to hover globally, with particular attention in Africa, where it is believed that marginalization is hindering development of many. Culture, religion, and other related issues are blamed for discrimination against women. But why has the world not moved past this menace in the 21st century? Has the women folks really stood up to this challenge, or are accomplices? And how important is women occupation of key leadership positions in changing the myth about women development and propelling progression of many, especially in the grassroots? On the spot, we'll speak to one of the leading supporters of women empowerment and development in Africa on vital issues of leadership and development. I am Joseph Oten. Welcome to the program. Now, my guest is a recognized astute social entrepreneur in Africa who also mentor and coach young people. He founded the Excellent Leadership Group as Excel Group, one of Africa's leading operational and advocacy non-governmental organizations, in January 2011, when he was just a third-year student at the University of Ghana, Legon. This establishment later gave birth to the Young African Women Congress network in the year 2015. This network has become a beacon of hope for young women in Africa, as it has created the platform where women find solace, growth, and development. Currently, it has rolled out comprehensive Women in Tech project with a revolutionary approach for African women to explore the digital economy as an opportunity for employment and self-realization across the African continent. On the spot is the founder and executive chairperson, Young African Women Congress, Daniel Osei Tuffuor. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Joseph.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Young African Women Congress Network is an organization where you have young women of African descent living in Africa and in the diaspora who seek to improve, seek empowerment, and themselves make themselves change makers for leadership. Try to give us an understanding what this group actually stands for. Are they seeking empowerment for themselves, or are they seeking empowerment of women, other women?
Thank you very much once again, Joseph, and I'm happy to be here on News 24 on NTA. As you rightly mentioned, the Young African Women Congress Network is a Pan-African women's platform that brings together women from across the continent and the diaspora for women's development, women's progress, and for women's growth. Over the years, we have done a lot as far as our objectives are concerned. You asked about the fact that they only seek empowerment for themselves or for other women. There is a quote in Latin, and I would like to paraphrase it in English, that no one gives what he has not. Before you can empower someone, you first of all have to empower yourself. It's against this backdrop that members of the York Network are exposed to tools that will enable them to empower themselves, and when they are able to get themselves empowered, they are able to empower their community. We have done so much as far as our work is concerned. We have major areas that we look at. So we look at the economic empowerment of women in the sense that we believe that, yes, we have been preaching after Beijing conference, and of course, even before Beijing conference, we were advocating for women's empowerment, women's rights, and what have you. We keep doing this, but at the end of the day, it gets to a point that we need resources to push the agenda further. For instance, if a woman is interested in political leadership, the person may want to contest for assembly member or a member of parliament or a senator or even a governor. We all know that politics requires a lot of financial resources to be able to win an election. And so if the woman having the zeal to lead but without funding, she kind of faces limitations. So it is for this reason that we believe that women have to be resourced enough financially to be able to do the many things that they have to do. So that is about the economic empowerment. We also promote women in leadership in the sense that there have been series of research that have shown that when women lead, society progresses. When women lead, there is growth in our countries. And so it is important that we deliberately give women the necessary training, the necessary tools, the necessary inspiration for them to nurture their leadership abilities to be able to lead in their various communities, in their various regions, in their various cities, in their various states, and in their various countries. So that is for women in leadership. We also do massive advocacy in various areas. And one of the prominent areas that we are noted for is gender-based violence. Over the years, we have done a lot when it comes to violence against women and girls in the area of rape and defilement. I mean, some years past, not too long ago, I think during COVID time, we championed a global campaign, and our focus was on the continent. The tagline for the campaign was "Stop Rape." Through that, we were able to follow up a number of cases and to even get people to be prosecuted. We were also able to, through the social media campaign, we reached over 50 million people across the continent. We created an awareness. Over the years, people kept blaming girls and women for, being allowed themselves to be raped. Some say because of the dress you wore, because if you didn't go there, it wouldn't have happened and all that. We needed to educate people. We needed to make people understand that even if a woman is naked, you have no reason to touch the person. So these are some of the sensitization that we've been singing into the ears of the community, into the ears of the society. Now, just recently,
just before you move on, just tell me the composition of the kind of persons that we have in this group. You say women in Africa, and then some in diaspora. How did you get to be in this group?
So now, our network is segmented by country demarcation. Presently, we have 8 national chapters. The headquarters is in Accra, Ghana. We have a national chapter here in Nigeria, incorporated with the national chapter leadership. The president of the Nigeria national chapter is Dr. Eunice Emmanuel, a wonderful woman who is doing amazing work for the progress of women in Nigeria. We have a chapter in Liberia, we have one in Sierra Leone, we have one in Cameroon, we have one Uganda, Kenya, and Ethiopia. And presently, we are working hard to open one in Rwanda, Zambia, South Africa, the Gambia. And we are also working hard to open a diaspora chapter because, African women are spread across. They are in Europe, they are in the US, they are in Asia. So we are currently working on opening a chapter in the UK. There's another one coming up in the Scandinavian countries. We put 3 of the Scandinavian countries together, Norway, Denmark, and Sweden, to form a chapter. So women who have that common purpose of seeking to empower themselves and empower their community get themselves involved in the network. We do advertisement through social media, through traditional media, invite people to be part of it. And when they see it, they, gladly embrace the vision and they get on board and become members.
Okay, I understand that there is a kind of an annual convention that the organization actually holds every year. That's where ideas are shared, experience are shared from different countries. What will you say have been the impact of this convention so far?
All right, so the Young African Women Congress Annual Global Convocation has been held 8 times in various African countries, including Ghana, Uganda, Kenya, and many others. Now, over the years, we put series of issues that borders on women's development in the front burner. And as truth women, I'm talking about women who have been able to, have made impact and also broken the glass ceiling that have been able to achieve, because we need role models and mentors for these young women. So when the issues are put in the front burner, these women are invited as speakers, as facilitators, as mentors, and to guide the discussion, to guide the conversation. So they share their rich experiences, and people who participate in the Congress tap into these experiences to make their lives better. Our platform, that's the Young African Women Congress Annual Global Convocation, is a unique platform in the sense that a lot of people are able to find their feet at the convocation. The kind of experiences, we don't color anything, we don't brand anything. The women that are invited to the platform share their experiences in its raw state, for people to know that, yes, that woman who has been able to become a minister of state did not have it easy. She had to go through challenges. Women are able to know that even if I'm a single mother, I can still achieve whatever I want to achieve once I set my mind and my eyes to. So,
and this is where you're taking me to somewhere where people have argued about a lot of things. That yes, we have had women. Now let's talk about the 21st century. Women who are their role model, you can mention them. The Ellen Johnson of Liberia, in Nigeria here, we have the Ngozi Okonjo-Iwealas.
Amina J. Mohammed,
yes,
the current Deputy UN Secretary General.
People have argued that we should move past this issue of every time advocating for women and women. Women should, looking at these men, should just stand up for themselves and propel themselves instead of every time advocating for something, asking for affirmative actions, and so on. What's your take on this? Don't you think it's hard time now? Majority of this advocacy every time should put them aside, because as I see, it's making a lot of women lazy.
I have heard this many times. Even some have to question why, as a man leading the advocacy of women's right and development, growth and economic empowerment and all that. Now, what I tell them is that if there was no problem, there wouldn't be the need to create a solution. You and I are aware that even though we have pushed the agenda of women empowerment over the years, there are still hindrances. If you doubt me, just take a data from any country. You realize that right from the kindergarten level, I'm talking about in education, we have a number of girls. But as they climb up through senior high school or senior secondary school to university, there is that disparity. The number reduces. Why? Some are lost to teenage pregnancies. Some are lost to, some cultural, myth, like women are not supposed to go to school to the higher level. When the woman goes to school, become disrespectful and all kinds of manners. Somewhere in the northern part of Ghana, I came across a gentleman, an educated person. In fact, the person is have completed university. And we talked about this women empowerment agenda and all that. Do you know what he told me? He told me that for us, we believe that, I don't want to mention any religion, I'm being careful, but from his background, he was telling me that for us, we believe that women are just, they are just our help. They will just be there to, he used certain words, which I don't want to repeat on TV, but very unpleasant words. So even an educated person has such a mindset about women at that level, then it means that there is more work to be done. It is the society that has kind of put that kind of notion in the minds of people, not just women. Just like you say women have such notion, we have a lot of men. So it is not because they are women that they have such notion, but because they are human beings living in a society. So even the women themselves, some of them, we need to work on them.
If someone tells you, I don't have a problem, why should you be telling me I have a problem? If I tell you I don't have a problem with this, why should you be telling me I have a problem?
You know, people were still for slave trade when people were advocating to end slave trade. I hope you're aware of that. Even some of the slaves, I'm sure, still lived and believed, and those who were even trading still wanted it to go on. But others felt that it was something that needs to be abolished because it's inhumane. So the fact that the person who is a victim does not identify that it's a problem does not mean it is good. That person needs conscientization. That person needs education. That person needs some form of training to be able to demystify such myth.
It's all right. Okay, we'll take a break here, and then when we come back, we'll now discuss on what your organization is doing in terms of women empowerment in Africa and even in Nigeria here, what you have done so far.
Right. Thank you.
NTA News 24 has the sole mandate of bringing news to you anywhere and everywhere.
We set standards based on current broadcast realities while consolidating on a wider reach to variety of audiences.
We go beyond the screaming headlines to verify, interrogate, and accommodate all shades of opinion without prejudice to national interest.
Nice to have you on the spot with Executive Chairperson, Young African Women Congress, Daniel Osei Tuffuor. Okay, before we went on the break, we're talking about the challenges of even women themselves getting out of this myth of development and so on. Now, let me go back to the conventions you normally have annually. Have you had this year's one?
No, so we felt, like I mentioned earlier, we've had the annual global convocation of the Young African Women Congress 8 times. This year's edition is coming on in October. Like I mentioned, the previous ones have been held in several African countries, including Ghana, Kenya, Uganda. Now, this year, the governing council of the network selected to host it in Nigeria for a couple of reasons. The first reason is the fact that Nigeria is Africa's most populous country, which everyone knows. And for that matter, we say when Nigeria sneezes, the entire continent catches cold. When there is a problem in Nigeria, there's a problem on the continent. When there is poverty in Nigeria, there's poverty on the continent. And so there we need to make a conscious effort to economically empower the women in Africa, especially the huge numbers in Nigeria, so that they will be able to make meaningful contributions to national development. So the fact that the workforce, we have a massive workforce here in Nigeria, there's a need to bring it here so that you will have a number of them become beneficiaries of the convocation. So this year's edition is from 27 to 31st October. It's coming on here.
I understand the theme has to do with digital economy.
Yeah, so enhancing women's economic empowerment through innovation and technology. So how we can use innovation and technology to enhance women's economic empowerment. We're talking about women in entrepreneurship, talking about the medium, micro, small, medium scale industry. We're talking about women in the corporate sector. We're talking about women in governance and all that. Yes, everyone is working towards a particular goal, but the main goal is to have economic freedom. Because when there is economic freedom, there is peace. So it is important that we prioritize the economic freedom of women. And when you prioritize economic freedom of women, you prioritize the economic freedom of humanity.
Okay, when you talk about empowering women, a large proportion of them are in the grassroots. We're talking about digital technology now. Many of them are not technological enlightened. They don't have that technical know-how. How would this reach down to them now?
So
How would it
now,
trickle down to them?
okay, right. So, you know, the world is moving very fast.
Because that's where you have the larger population.
Yes. So we say that the world is moving as a fast pace. Now, the fact that you are failing to equip yourself with a particular knowledge and skill doesn't mean the world is waiting for you. I have made an observation in Nigeria. I've realized that the country is working towards a cashless society, because I see that even people at marketplaces are ready to receive transfers after buying some few foodstuffs and all that, which is good. It's a policy that the government is trying to use to limit the circulation of physical, cash and all that, and it has a lot of benefit, even including crime, because if you don't have physical cash on you, somebody will not even come and attack you. And once the thing is in your account and all that, they wouldn't even know whether you have money or not. So that is one of the layman's, apart from the big macroeconomic jargons for some of these policies and all that. Yeah. This is the layman's reason for some of these things. Now, we have to make a deliberate effort to pull the people from the grassroots into that kind of web of empowerment, be it digital empowerment, be it leadership, be it all forms of empowerment. So even though they are the grassroots and they do not have access to some of these things, they still need to. Now, everyone in Nigeria uses mobile phone. I doubt if there is somebody who has not heard about mobile phone before in Nigeria. Even if the person does not own one, he has somebody that owns one. In fact, the son or some daughter in the city in Abuja has bought one for her in the village. So if she wants to make a call as a mother, she will just ask Obina, come and dial your sister's number for me. So it is there. So the fact is that they will use it, but we need to make that conscious effort to bring them inside. It is training. Everyone, irrespective of your age, irrespective of your background, once we are able to expose you to some form of training, you're able to acquire that particular knowledge. That's how the mind works. So we have to make a conscious effort. We won't say that because they are in the grassroots, we should forget about them.
Due to some certain circumstances, it could be economy, it could be anything, it could be disaster. A lot of people find it difficult to continue with a particular project. When they start up something, it's difficult to continue with that project. Either it could be finance, it could be anything. It could be personal issues and so on. Do you have a kind of a network that follows up some of your members on what they are doing?
So when you look at the way we have segmented our network in terms of the chapters, every country has its leadership, and even it goes down. Even in states like Nigeria, that is big, the states have the sub chapters where people who are members are supported. Sometimes the person may not even need money. What the person needs is that sense of belonging, to feel that she belongs to a particular group that is supportive. She comes to the platform, she's so down, but she comes to the platform and something is put on the page. She reads it and she gets her inspiration and gets the motivation to move. So the network is there for things like that. We are very deliberate about providing guidance and counseling. We are very deliberate in providing some form of support system. So let's say you are working on a project and you need to put one or two things together. You can always get to the leaders, and through the structures, we are able to support you in that regard to push the next level. We have done this over the years. Women empowerment is human empowerment, and it should be aspiration of every individual, every organization, and every government.
That's all right. With that, we'll stop here. Well, thank you so much, founder and executive chairperson, Young African Women Congress, Daniel Osei Tuffuor. Thank you for being on the spot.
Thank you very much, Joseph.
Thank you. And thank you to viewer for always being there. I will see you on the next episode. Goodbye.